Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a review on my life-size Freddy Krueger. Uh, Basically, I decided to do this after I received a bust of Freddy Krueger's makeup from the original 1984 Nightmare on Elm Street. But I didn't have the funds to do another full statue, so I actually had to sacrifice one of my other ones. So my life-size Michael Myers is no more. He's just a head now. But when I get the funds together, I will do a video on possibly a step-by-step on how to build one of these. But I took the mannequin and completely chopped him in pieces and used everything from metal, tape, screws, glue, anything I could to shape and pull every piece of the statue's body into the position that best suited me for this statue, which is Freddy's iconic, as Robert Englund calls it, gunslinger pose. So he has the Clint Eastwood leg kick out with the right hip sticking out. He was quite difficult to build. This was to date my most difficult build. But I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have fun. The only thing that made this more difficult than it needed to be was I don't own power tools. Everything from shaping the body to screwing everything back together to pulling every piece into the proper position was all done by hand, because I simply do not own saws, I don't own drills or anything like that. The only thing I had was a box of screws, pieces of scrap metal, a screwdriver, and a hunting knife. That is what I used to chop every single piece of the body into the positions that I needed it to be in. So that's why I love this statue as much as I do, because it really was a labor of love. Because if I didn't care about it too much, I would have just bought a regular mannequin, slapped some clothes on it, slapped the head, put a glove on it, and then called it a day. But I love the character of Freddy Krueger so much that I decided to go all out. So I'll give you a closer look in just a second. So upon closer inspection, you can see the makeup is based on, as I said, the look he has in the original 1984 film, as well as the entire outfit. You see the red sweater, the red and green sweater it is not a David Miller creation sweater, because I cannot for the life of me find anybody who is willing to sell one. And I don't know how to get in contact with David Miller. So I went with the next best thing. I found a website run by a woman. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so I'm just gonna call her Margaret O. And she has her own website. It's based out of Germany, I think it is. And she hand knits all of these sweaters. So I was able to get a hold of one, and from a private collector who became a really good friend. And I asked him if he wanted to sell it, and he basically was like, hell yeah, for you bro, anything. So I was like, so that was awesome. The only thing is that the light really doesn't show it, but when I got the sweater, it was weathered, but it was a little too bright. Let me get a shot of it in the light. Some pieces are in the light, and you'll see what I mean. Like, you see this little red bit right here? Even after it came and it was already weathered, that's pretty much what color it was. So I had to do a little bit of weathering myself. And I think I have it down to how I want it. The left hand is a standard mannequin hand because I haven't found a good enough hand to suit me, to suit my needs yet, but it'll do. The glove I've already done a review of is my Springwood Replica's 1984 glove. I am head over heels for this glove. I think it's the best glove I've ever seen. And as I've said in my review, I think it's the best, I think it's the absolute best. And it is for a very good price. So once again, if you want a really good glove, go check them out. The face is made by Scarewear Productions. I got really lucky because these things are not cheap in the slightest. The lowest I've ever seen these go for online was about $400 to $450. That was the absolute bottom dollar. The hat may not be completely screen accurate, but it's a black fedora and yeah, it's good enough. Closer inspection, you can kind of see some holes and charring around the hat and the band. This is a detail I thought was really cool. First, to take his hat off, you see more of these nasty open wounds on his head, which I think look incredible. He even has the hole punched into his ear. I can see the TV through it. More burns. I apologize for the bullshit lighting, but the lighting in my living room is a lot better than the lighting in my room, and boy, it was quite a process to get this thing out of my bedroom and into my horror room and into my living room. I have a very narrow, skinny staircase, and yeah, it was absolute hell getting this thing down. Luckily, it does not weigh that much, because otherwise I would have just said screw it and filmed it in the shitty lighting in my room. But yeah, there's the face. Close up of the eyes. I really love the eyes. He just looks so angry. I'm in love with that head sculpt. But one really cool detail that I thought was funny is they actually, I don't know, put it in the light, you can actually see the inside of the hat, just like in the movie, says Fred Krueger on the inside of the hat. I love that. Just that little tiny detail. So yeah, that's the bust, glove, and sweater. I'm not gonna show any of the parts. Well, I guess I can lift the shirt up. I also, because I ran out of metal scraps, I used pieces of plastic and electrical tape to saw the body and put it into the shapes that I needed. And it gets the job done. With the clothes on, it doesn't really matter how shitty the actual body looks, because yeah. The pants are just a random pair of work pants that I had. Luckily, they fit the mannequin like a glove, which was amazing considering I'm a lot bigger than the mannequin. But they fit perfectly. The only thing is they aren't completely accurate because they had the little army style pouches on they were cargo pants. They were just a regular pair of my old work pants that I thought would work because they already had holes torn in them from jagged pieces of steel from where I worked. And so yeah, I just ripped the pockets off the side, and they'll age eventually where the colors will all blend together and it won't be that noticeable, but soon I I'm pretty sure I'll just get a pair of regular Dockers slacks or something and put on him, but these do the trick for now. The boots were just just a regular random pair of boots that I found that no longer fit. And so I slapped them on. His feet do kind of look a little tiny, but it's not that big of a deal for me. And another thing I wanted to mention was that luckily I was able to get him down to the correct height of Robert Englund based on my meeting Robert Englund at the Texas Frightmare Convention. And when I had the chance to do a photo op with him, I noticed in the photos that he is roughly 2.5 to 3 inches taller than me. So that made it a lot easier to get my life-size statue to scale. So he is approximately 5'10", which is, if not exact, close enough to Robert Englund's actual height. Because at 5'10", that means he is approximately 2.5 inches taller than me. As far as budget goes, the only really expensive pieces were the bust and the glove. The sweater, it varies. I've seen some people offer these for $100, some were $2. I paid roughly around the $2 area. The pants were and boots were just recycled garbage clothes that were probably just gonna go on a burning pile. But I figured, why not try to make them useful again? So luckily I came up with this idea to do this. And I'll do one more quick spin around so you can see everything. The glove, the horrific burns. I love the part 1 makeup the most because I think the burns look the most realistic as far as fresh burns. In part 2, the burns look pretty real after. They look kind of like how burns would look after they were starting to heal. They just look like regular burn scars. I just didn't like the hook nose and the high, almost Cillian Murphy looking cheekbones. The whole witchy looking face, I wasn't a big fan of that, but I digress. Here is the back. Yeah, the pants at the bottom and the back were really tattered, so luckily that works. The sweater. Yeah, if you can't get a David Miller Creation sweater, this is the next best thing, in my opinion. So yeah, that is my life-size Freddy, based off of the Nightmare on Elm Street 1984 film. As I've said before, I'm very pleased with him. And I don't think I could have done any better, and I'm happy that he's part of the collection. Hopefully the next life-size video I do will be on the life-size Michael Myers from the original 1981 Halloween 2. That was my all-time favorite look. I know that's probably blasphemous to say, but it is. It is my favorite look. I love the original, but Halloween 2, he looked terrifying in that movie, and he was so much more brutal. But anyway, this is a Freddy Krueger video. So yeah, as I've said probably 10 times already, I'm very pleased with him, and as Freddy Krueger says, sleep kills.